More than 100 refugees were washed up once again and rescued off the coast of Cyprus last week. They will join the some 300 who are already in the Kofinou reception centre. They were medically checked and then, I believe, taken to the temporary camp at Kofinou. With us on the programme this week is the head of the Asylum and Migration Services here in Cyprus, Makis Polydorou. Makis, that means that you've been kept fairly busy the last few months because this is, I think, the third or fourth boat in a pretty short space of time. What is the prospect for these people?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that always busy. Okay, these two departments are, because of the nature of our duties, are always busy. Okay, definitely in regard to the boats arriving in Cyprus from Turkey, yes, there is let's say, a constant trend. Boats with migrants, undocumented or Syrian refugees to approach Cyprus from Turkey. And, of course, these persons, for those seeking asylum, they will be, according to the legislation in the idea as well, they will be hosted in an emergency, for the moment, an emergency place, and in case we have place in Kophinou center, of course they will be hosted there during the examination of their asylum applications. Otherwise, their case will be dealt with by the welfare office in order to accord them the allowance and the coupons, etc., for decent living conditions.
So what is the allowance when they're here? Are we talking now about the people, for example, in Kophinou? Did they get an allowance? Because I thought everything was provided for them in the camp.
No. There is a difference. If you are in a refugee reception center like Kophinou, you get accommodation, food and clothing, as well as an allowance of 40 euros for your personal expenses. This is something else. But if your case falls under the jurisdiction of the welfare, you are provided with rent allowance and coupons for clothing and food, plus an additional allowance.
So the people who are in Kophinou, are they recognised refugees? Because my understanding was that they'd applied for asylum, and some of them have been there for almost a year. How long does it take?
No. The Kophinou reception centers is for asylum seekers. In case somebody is recognized as a refugee, he should leave the center,
and then he falls under the welfare department?
Yes, so he has other, additional rights for full access to employment, and like everybody, and to be under the welfare system. So it's something different. So the centers, these reception centers, are for asylum seekers.
Okay, and what about the length of time it's taking to process these people?
It depends.
On?
It depends on the backlog, on the available staff to examine. There is no, but in case we don't examine their application within 6 months from the date of submission, we are obliged to inform them that we are not in a position to examine, because probably of the backlog. And, of course, we do our efforts in order to examine as soon as possible.
Right, now, what are the criteria? Because, again, if we talk about the people who are currently at the Kophinou camp, some of them, I think, have had their applications certainly looked at. I don't know about accepted, but I understood some were accepted. And others who came on exactly the same boat from the same destinations have been refused.
It depends. The criteria is not... the criteria does not include that if somebody comes with the same boat, they have
Well, that's what I'm asking you. What are the criteria?
No, the criteria is whether they have fear of persecution, a valid fear of persecution, according to the Geneva Convention, because they have persecution for reasons of or political reasons or
sexual
religious
orientation,
all these 5 reasons, and these are recognized refugees. On the other hand, the international protection status have another one strand, the subsidiary protection. This means that it's not because you have persecution because you are the specific person under these 5 reasons I mentioned before, but because of the undiscriminating violence prevailed in your country of origin.
So, war.
If you're, war. Okay, like Syrians. Mm-hmm. So, Syrians are granted at least subsidiary protection. But if there's no case for the moment, Syrian to be rejected, no. But if in the same, let's say, boat, we have other nationalities that they don't fulfill the criteria, they don't fall under the specific, of course they will be rejected.
Okay, let's talk specifically then about Palestinians, many of whom have lived in Syria for years because they can't live in Palestine, and they are very often the ones who seem to get caught up in this statelessness. Are there Palestinians in Kofinou?
It depends. First of all, it depends. Palestinians of which country? Palestinians in various countries. I'm not going to extend to say something more, but every case is considered on its own merit. If, for example, I am a stateless, but I live in decent conditions in a specific country, according to the law, I don't fulfill the criteria. I can live decently in that country. I'm not going to say to make a refugee status determination here. Every case is considered its own merit. Maybe, or somebody to claim that I am stateless, but not to be stateless. And there are a lot of cases, different circumstances that are under consideration. Somebody might claim that he's a Syrian, but he's not. He's Jordanian, for example, or he is Turk, or something like that. So, in order to say something and to be valid, we should consider every case on its own. This is something that is provided for in the law. I mean, it's the cornerstone. Every case on its own merit. You can an individual to examine thoroughly its case.
Okay,
its case.
But so there's no sort of time frame then that you expect that within, for example, 8 months or a year, an applicant can expect to get an answer?
Yes, I told you that. I explained to you that our goal is the 6 months. However, you understand, if I have, for example, 10 case workers providing the production, let's say, is 100 per month, and I have an influx of 200 per month. You understand that it is not easy to their cases to be examined within this period of 30 days. It's a matter of numbers, to compare numbers. Say that I can make this number of applications, or maximum, for example, 8 to 12, for example. But the influx is
bigger than the staff.
Bigger than the staff capability. I think it's obvious.
Can we switch to the problem of Kophinou? Mm-hmm. Because it's come to my attention that there are serious infrastructure problems there. And I'm wondering who is responsible for running the Kophinou camp?
Okay, I'm afraid that I'm not going to agree with you regarding the infrastructure. This this reception center is monitored by the Commission. I mean, it was constructed according to the standards of the European Union, and the Asylum Service is in charge to run the reception centers, but he may delegate its authority to NGOs or other in order to.
But the Asylum Service is responsible overall.
It is responsible, but he may delegate, to authorize.
All right. We've always been frank with each other, Makis, you and I. Let me tell you what I have heard, and I checked it this morning because I heard it 2 weeks ago, and I thought, I'm not going to just believe that. There is apparently raw sewage overflowing in the children's playground area of Kofinou camp. That's the first one. There are people arriving there who are begging for brooms to sweep out and clean the room that they are assigned to. There are other people trying to make do buying all the toiletries and things their family needs on the 40 euros that they're getting. It's obviously something's not quite right. I've heard they also need blankets, pillows, pots and pans, things that I had assumed were automatically provided there. So that's why I'm asking you who is responsible. Because if it's delegated to the Red Cross or to another NGO, who's checking that they're doing what they say they should? Because it's very bad for Cyprus.
No, I think that the system works, and they are provided, the officers there in charge, they provide them with all this. They have, I mean, you said something about blankets. We have cleaners, we pay cleaners. Okay.
Well, somebody's not checking that they're doing the job, is what I'm saying, because
Makis,
as I walked into your building, I was talking to somebody who has been to the camp and seen this and had a woman in tears saying, I can't clean the place, I want to clean it.
Okay, I would say something. Of course, complaints, this is something, if you reside in a camp, everywhere, in a village, in a city, wherever, of course complaints are made, and we examine these complaints. If something, let's say, brings our attention, they bring something that happened, of course we are going to to change the situation and to satisfy the people who complain. On the other hand, we have cases that the complaints we are not.
I can understand that, but let's talk.
But you'd say that they go there. We have, since I explained to you that we have people there, and we pay them to clean. One. Second, we provide what they say. We provide food. We provide clothing. We do that. But if something happens, it is very easy to complain. I don't say that everything is running is working perfectly. I'm sure that this there is no place to say that this happened definitely. No, of course there are gaps. Of course there are complaints. It's a matter of treatment of people, different culture. And complaints, for example, they say that I don't like the food.
No, I'm not talking about
anyway,
people.
You said about cleaning, and I told you that.
And let me ask you about the raw sewage. That's something that has now been going on for, I think, over a month. I'm suggesting that someone should check.
Okay.
The children's play area is running with raw sewage. I've heard 3-4 reports about it in the last month.
Anyway,
people have gone to the Asylum Service.
Let me investigate it. Okay, I'm not in a position to say something. Now you bring to my attention something, right? I don't say that you are wrong or you are right. I'm going to examine it. But anyway, I'm not reluctant to examine any complaint. Of course, we are here if complaints comes to our attention, to examine it. And I'm going to do that. Because now, during an interview, you mentioned something. That in a specific family complained that the cleaner didn't clean all the... of course, I think that you understand it is not easy to say, they get this happen. It's impossible.
No,
every incident happening, or somebody said something. Okay, I'm not reluctant, I'm going to examine it, to pay attention to
Can
that.
I just ask you this? Because I don't want to give you a hard time particularly. It seems you didn't know about some of these problems. What is the procedure?
I don't say... No. Rosie, let me explain once again. We have officers here, who are in charge for Kofinou, and they take care of everything. I mean, so this question, I'm going to examine it with my officers if this happens. But every day we have disputes, we have a lot of things.
Sure.
I don't say that since we have 400 people residing there, yes, of course it is normal to problems to take place.
Sure, but what is the procedure that the people who are in the camp should follow if they have a request or a complaint or they want to bring attention to something?
Okay.
Do they know who to go to?
They know, they have information about organization, about the asylum service to conduct, to apply. If they complain, let's say that the staff of the center is not responding. In this case, of course, we provide them, and we have contacts with them. And every day we take care in order the center to work in a proper way. But I prefer before any interview, if the journalist is going to mention a specific complaint, a specific case, it's better prior to that.
I only got confirmation of this because I checked it,
and
I got
we have to check. If I say, for example, this happened even in TV programs on. Yes, I have this case. Maybe somebody on the panel said, I have this case, but you did nothing, etc. But I have to investigate. It is very easy to say, I have this information, and you did nothing. But you have time to examine whether this is true or not. And on the other, this happened in the parliament. Somebody said, we have that, somebody's happened this. Okay, all right, I'm going to investigate now.
Well, that's the main thing. If you are going to investigate, then this is done
and it was not valid. Anyway, at that time, 2 times in the parliament, so the past happened, and it was not valid. The incident that was mentioned never took place.
All right, I know you've got a tough job, but I can leave here feeling that maybe our chat has not only brought this to light, which would be a good thing for all concerned, and as I mentioned also earlier, good for Cyprus, because we are part of the European Asylum Support Office. They give us a lot of money, and I'm sure that they want to know we're doing the job properly. So it's good for us to be seen to be doing it properly.
We get... Okay, let me correct. We get money from the European Union, and of course we contribute as Cyprus to the budget of the European Union.
No, I'm talking about the European Asylum Support Office.
Yes, the European Asylum Support Office, they also gives not economic, financial support. No. For the infrastructure, etc., the role of EASO is support of EASO is something else. It's not. I mean, they don't give funds, let's say, for the erection of a camp or something like that. No, this is covered by other the European funds. But Cyprus contributes to the budget of the European Union. So it's a matter of circle. So we have. There is a limit So we try to exploit these funds, and I think that all the member states do that in order to enhance and to strengthen the infrastructure, etc. So it's not something. It's not a gift. we contribute Cyprus, and of course we are in the European Union, and we apply in order to, according to the regulations and the procedures followed by the European Union, in order to get these funds.
And can I just ask you finally if we are sufficiently funded? Is the Asylum Service and your agency sufficiently funded to do the job the way you'd like to do it?
As I described before, there is a roof, right? I think that we do the best to take the maximum that we deserve. But on the other hand, I would say one thing, that the countries like Cyprus, like Greece, etc., we had a huge burden. That it was much more than our capabilities. This happened in the past, and now the difference is that now we have reduced numbers of new applications. However, in the past, for example, in the past we had more than 9,000 per year. Now we have less. However, the numbers of those who are entitled to a regime have increased significantly. So these people will stay, I don't know for how long. However, you understand that the sample change. So Cyprus and some others like Greece, yes, we receive more burden, and from my point of view, we need more help and assistance from the European Union. This is a burden sharing. We mentioned it a lot of times in the past. Cyprus did an excellent work, and they contributed to the system, to the best possible extent. And Cyprus, just to say that we have the appreciation of the European Union about the work that the Cypriot authorities done during the past. And although we are a small service and small state, receiving this enormous burden. However, of course, it is not easy to say that everybody is satisfied. Probably NGOs are not satisfied. There are NGOs that help the Asylum Service a lot, of course, but the complaints are always is.
But basically you're saying that you could do with more help.
Of course we need more help, and this is something that we mentioned, not only Cyprus. The countries like, I mentioned Greece, I mentioned maybe Italy or Malta, the countries of the south. Yes, we have this problem. Turkey occupies the northern part of Cyprus. They send us constantly undocumented immigrants and asylum seekers, either through the occupied part of, or they come direct, the boats from Turkey to Cyprus. If Turkey wanted to stop it, of course, it's a piece of cake for them. It's a piece of cake.
That's the head of the Asylum and Migration Service here in Cyprus, Makis Polydorou.